Okay. Well, welcome to the Master of Arts and Music Industry Information session. My name is Rashonda Butler. I am one of the student advocates here at the University of Miami. I work with students to ensure that they have a smooth transition into the online environment. This program is definitely one of our more popular programs, so we're excited to be able to potentially welcome you into this fantastic group. We are going to cover a lot of information tonight, but before we do have a few housekeeping items. First and foremost, this information session is going to be about 45 minutes. We do know that your time is very valuable and we want to be courteous of that. So if for any reason you do need to go ahead and leave, just know that a recording of this session will be available afterwards. In addition, we will be doing a Q&A. This session is geared toward the content of this program. We do have both faculty and alumni joining us this evening. So if you have questions, feel free, ask them. We'll do our best to answer them. That feature is going to be available at the bottom of the screen under Q&A. If you have questions related more so to the admission side of things, so let's just say like financial aid, we do encourage you to speak with one of our enrollment advisors. That contact information is at the bottom of the screen. And now I'm going to turn it over to Andrea Jimenez, who is the Director of Frost Online Programs.
Thank you, Rashonda. Appreciate you. Hello, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for being here with us. So just to introduce our amazing panelists, we have our awesome program director, Serona Elton. We have one of our faculty members, also Associate Dean, Ray Sanchez. And then we have our fantastic alumni and one soon to be alumni. So Michelle's one of our alumni, Miguel, one of our alumni, and Jordan about to be one of our alumni this spring. So we're so happy that they can all be here. And just in terms of me, yes, my name is Andrea Jimenez. I am the new Frost Online Programs Director. I've been with the program already for about, I would say close to 2 months already. And it's been, my goodness, a whirlwind of knowledge, information, learning the students, getting to know our community in the music industry program, just an impressive bunch of individuals. And I'm just privileged to be here. So with that said, Serona and Ray, if you can go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then we'll jump, and then alumni and Jordan, we're going to go ahead and talk to you as well, and then we'll jump into questions. Serona, if you'd like to kick us off, please, Program Director.
Sure. My pleasure. So my name is Serona Elton. I am the director of the music industry program. I am also a professor. I teach in the program. And when I say the director of the music industry program, I mean both our online version and our on-campus version. So, and all of my students, graduate students and undergrads, we have an undergrad program as well, all do take classes with me. And so that's my role. I also have some other roles within the School of Music. Currently, I'm the Associate Dean of Administration, so I help oversee the operations of the school. But my main focus, my main love is music industry. And so I teach music contracts or music agreements class, and I teach about the record label side or recorded music side of the industry.
Thank you for that, Ray.
Yes, and I'm Ray Sanchez. I am a professor in the Department of Music, Media, and Industry, and I'm also currently the chair of the Department of Music, Media, and Industry, and also one of the associate deans and longtime colleague of Professor Elton's. I teach in this program. I teach the the music copyright law class, and I also teach the entrepreneurship class. I come very much from the creative side of the music industry. I'm a producer, was a longtime musical director, guitarist, toured quite a bit, worked with a lot of major artists, and I'm still very involved in many aspects. I still own a couple of publishing catalogs and still producing. So been with Frost Online since the very beginning. yeah, I look forward to having folks in class. This is a really interesting time in the music industry. And, it's always a lot of fun to talk about these things.
Let me just chime in because I didn't say anything about my background. And by the way, I love how Ray Sanchez says he was there at the beginning, like he started Frost Online, full stop. So, so that's,
that was the beginning.
So I actually am an alumni of
Yes.
the on-campus program. So I did my master's in music industry a long time ago, way before there was an online program. And then I worked for many years in the record industry, particularly for major record labels, working on things like rights management and licensing and royalties and information systems. I'm also a lawyer. And currently, I've always got some kind of work going on in the industry in addition to what I'm doing at the MLC, in addition to what I'm doing at UM. And currently that is working with an organization called the Mechanical Licensing Collective, the MLC. It's a kind of music licensing organization. And I've been involved with them for a few years. And so you can check me out on LinkedIn. It's easy to find my bio. I'm also recently a co-author of a book that we use as our main textbook when students in our on-campus programs start with an introduction to the music industry book. I've now taken over writing that book in the 13th edition. So I'm very excited about that. But easy to find information out about me on the internet.
Thank you both so much. Appreciate you. Jordan, please give us an intro about yourself, and then Michelle and Miguel will move on to you. Go ahead.
Will do. Hi, my name is Jordan Martin. I have been working in the music industry for the past 5 years, I should say. After I graduated from the University of Connecticut, I got my first internship was at Warner Music Group back in 2018. Shortly after that, I landed a role at Interscope and moved to LA, worked in the A&R department as a coordinator, worked my way up, was at Interscope for about a year. Then I landed another position at Motown Capital, worked there for the past 2 to 3 years in the A&R department. Up until now, I'm currently working with Diamond Platinum artist French Montana day to day on his last 3 projects. We recently just got a #1 album back in January. So that's good news. But I also took classes with Professor Sanchez and Ellen as well. So definitely excited to be here today.
Go ahead, Michelle. Thank you, Jordan.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Emirali. I'm actually a double alum from the University of Miami. I started on the creative side as well. So I studied musical theater. I did shows, graduated in 2001, toured for a little bit, decided that I really loved giving back, and I'm on the education side. So I founded a company in 2008 called Broadway Kids Studio in Davie, Florida. And we basically produce about 15 full musicals a year. We also are hired by different schools to create the curriculum for 3rd through 8th drama and music. And that's kind of evolved into their own little monsters. And then I decided to get my master's in this program in 2020 is when I graduated, because really like Professor Sanchez and Professor Elton was saying, the music industry is constantly changing. And I really felt that in order to give back to my students that have the internet that I did not have, it's not Cakewalk and Finale anymore. It's a lot more fancier programs. I needed to educate myself. And so I've basically evolved my business along with what I started with what I've learned from this program as well.
Thank you, Michelle. Miguel, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for your invitation again. So my name is Miguel. I also come from the creative side. I'm a musician. I actually graduated as a composer. I've been working independently as a music producer the last couple of years, but I've been also working. My main full-time job now is as an educator. I work at 2 Peruvian universities, music schools. First, I started specifically in the music business area, and then gradually also they gave me music production courses, because that's the side that I really like about the creative side of music. And recently I have just started a small independent record label. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And well, that's kind of my condensed story with the music business. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Miguel. Appreciate it. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. Serona and Ray, let's get into questions here. So this is the official Q&A portion of our session today. Let's talk curriculum. Y'all gave us information about your roles. Awesome. So curriculum in terms of our online music industry program, right? So how do you both believe is different from other music programs? And what are some key skills in terms of learnings and concepts that you believe this program really tries to hone in on and focus on, so that our students definitely walk away with those values? Serona, please, if you will first.
Sure. So I think one of the things that we're super proud about with our curriculum is how well-rounded it is. Some schools are focused heavily, let's say very heavily on marketing. Everything is some variation of marketing. Our curriculum really covers all the different sectors of the industry. It doesn't assume you're going to work in any particular one of them, right? Because often as a student, you don't know about them all yet, or you might be already working in one and you've always wanted to know how the other sectors work and how they all interact with each other. And so our curriculum, we feel like it's really balanced in terms of covering all the different sectors of the industry. And by that, I mean, for example, the record business versus the music publishing business, right? Or the live side of the business. There's some electives in that as well. So it really covers off different sectors of the industry. What's also great is that it's a relatively flexible curriculum in that there's a set of required courses, but then there's also a lot of electives. So there is a balance there. And I think those are the things that, were kind of the hallmark of our program and always have been. They're what drew me to it as a student way back in the day. And although obviously what's actually being taught in the class is different than when I was a student, and it's updated all the time, the fundamental sectors of the industry really are still there. And we think for you to have a successful career in the industry, you really need to understand the entire ecosystem. And so that's why we do it this way.
Thank you, Serona. Ray, you can.
Yeah,
on that.
no, I'll absolutely echo what Serona just said. And this has been, a hallmark of our program pretty much from day one. I have to be the one always to say that we started this whole thing, University of Miami, and now known as the Frost School of Music, was the first music industry program ever in academia, way back in the 1960s. And that means that our network is very deep and very wide. And can't stress enough the point that Serona said, that we don't focus on one niche or another. There are a lot of schools that, music industry, and I'm not going to mention names or anything, but, it's either marketing focused or production focused or something else. The music industry is far bigger than any one niche area, and it's critical that you understand how the pieces fit together and work together, and you will find yourself moving often throughout. I mean, I have one alum I can think of that has worked in every major sector of this business, every major, publishing, records, live, now heavily involved in the digital space as well. That's not uncommon. And you can do that if you understand how it all works together. The principles are really important. Some things don't change. We're constantly in a state of change in the business, of course. This isn't like other disciplines where, a professor can phone it in, and, it's what they've been doing for the last 20 years. I mean, if we were teaching what we were teaching 20 years ago, we'd be completely irrelevant and not have any students, and we wouldn't even be here talking right now. And yet, so that's our culture. The other thing I do want to say is that everyone that works in our program is an industry professional, somebody that has a lot of experience already, and yet is still really curious and really involved in what's happening. And don't shy away from the things that are coming down the pike. Web3, NFTs, all that kind of stuff. And we question everything, of course, as we should. So we got more to talk about, so I'll end right there. But that kind of lays the background for what we're all about.
Thank you, Ray, for that. Appreciate it. So, alumni, let's go ahead and jump into your why. So why is it that each of you decided the University of Miami Frost School of Music, UOnline, this graduate program? Why did you choose it? And what do you believe set us apart when you were considering it a year, 2 years, 3 years, X amount of years ago when you were deciding on your graduate school journey? Michelle, can we start with you?
Thank you. So I have a combination of reasons of my why. I had a phenomenal experience with my undergrad, so I knew the caliber of professors that were at the University of Miami School of Music, Frost School of Music. Several whys. One, I knew the industry was changing since the 20 years that I had graduated, and I did my research. I looked at other programs, but to echo what Professor Sanchez said, based on what I was looking at and the feedback I got from others, the faculty at Frost is always learning. They're always willing to kind of it's a never ending knowledge, full of knowledge. And that's kind of what feeds my creativity as well. I'm also a mom of 2 boys and I needed the flexibility. So it was honestly the perfect match for me. It was my alma mater. The quality of the professors is beyond anyone's expectations because they're always learning, therefore we're always learning. And they push you to kind of take that risk. I'm on the creative side, I'm a vocalist, but I got to learn about copyright law, and therefore I made my business stronger because I was able to educate my students and myself. So I really found that the program brought in the quality, the time management that I needed as a business owner, an entrepreneur, and a mother, and it also fed my need to learn. So for me, it was a no-brainer. It was just the best of the best.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. Miguel, please.
Yes, thank you. So in my case, it's also a combination of several factors. So first place, the prestige of the university, of course, which was one of the first things that I looked for when I wanted to do my master. The second thing would be also the quality of the teachers, both academically qualified and with a significant experience in the field. I have Professor Sanchez and Professor Elton here as wonderful examples for that. In the specific case of Professor Sanchez, for me, it was very important that he has this closeness to the Latin American music industry, because I'm Peruvian and we're kind of in an environment where we cannot directly compare our realities, but still we have many common elements. Flexibility was also important to me because, so in my case, I'm a bit different because music is my second career. I'm also a doctor. I'm a psychiatrist, so I had to share my time with patients, with working at the hospital, and also working as a musician, and try to accommodate my schedule, the classes, try to fit my classes in my schedule. So having the option of not necessarily attending a scheduled class and having the opportunity to read, to study on my own was very, very important to me. And also I think that to me, it's really important to highlight how specific this program is. It's not like, I never felt like it was just general management courses like adapted for the music business, but specific courses designed for this, well, for this specific creative industry. And that was really important because that in that way I could organize myself and my academically and my way of thinking regarding recording industry, live music industry, music marketing, and stuff that are, in that way I felt they were more comprehensive and were just better.
Thank you, Miguel. Jordan, please.
My why, My first manager at Warner, he was actually alumni of the program. He's at TikTok now. Mike Falligan, he encouraged me to join the program. I told myself I'd probably never go back to school, but it just made sense with the program being online, and I was working at Motown Records at the time. I just wanted to get ahead and take the next leap in my career. I felt like the program, it matched up like with my day-to-day lifestyle, everything that I was actually doing at the label, I was learning about. And I just felt like I was learning things that you normally probably have to get 5-10 years into your career to learn it. I probably learned it in less than 2 years. So I feel like the program just covered everything I need. I built up my confidence. I feel like as an independent, I can go off on my own and know what to do because of the topics and the classes and that everything that I learned. So for me, it's matched up perfectly. So I feel like it was a great.
Thank you, Jordan, so much. Appreciate you for that. So Sirona and Ray, well, first and foremost, we have a message in the chat just asking, having a hard time deciding between music, our industry program and our live entertainment program, but they mesh. So there's a lot of similarity, but a lot of differences, and our electives kind of coincide. Do you both want to just touch upon somebody that's deciding between, our awesome programs? Because I mean, they're both great, but Sirona.
I mean, I think you have to really, it's a very personalized decision, and you should look at the curriculum for both. And I think you really kind of need to go towards what, at least at the moment, you really feel like you're more likely to do right after you finish this degree. If you really see yourself working for like a concert promotion company, like, Live Nation or Ticketmaster, or concert venue, arenas, managing performing arts centers, or, big concert arenas, putting on festivals, any of that kind of stuff, being, heavily involved perhaps with artist tours, then I think the live entertainment management degree is a better fit. If you're interested in the sort of, how does the record business work, and Spotify and Apple Music and music publishing, and recording artists getting record deals, and how does all that work? And music licensing, all that money and all that music being used everywhere. How does the permissions work, and how does the money get generated? Then I think the music industry program is for you. Each one gets to take electives in the other. So it's not like a firm silo, there is some things going on there, but I think, in terms of you'll get a bit closer to one area or the other, because you'll be more immersed in classes in that space. And then, that's what it says on your resume. That's what it'll say on your LinkedIn profile. That helps kind of build your brand and think about what's next for you career-wise, what you want that brand to be. Because I think, for potential employers or business partners, saying you studied a topic you took the time, you took the energy, effort, spent the money, did everything it took to get a master's degree. The topic you chose to study for that master's degree says something about your level of commitment and passion for it, to partners, business partners and employers. And so I think those should be the things that should influence you.
Thank you for that. Go ahead, Ray, because I thought
I'll just echo that and just say that there's also, it's very important, the two parts that yes, both programs have enough elective options so that you can take courses in the other. And it's not always as cut and dry. Like I said, there are people that go into one side of the business, end up in another. A gentleman that both Sirona and I both know, Steve Barnett, who was president of both Capitol and Columbia Records, started his career as an artist manager with people like Cyndi Lauper and AC/DC, and that couldn't be more different, right? So I will say this: in the music industry, the recorded music industry tends to be geographically defined. LA and New York in the US are the big general centers for the industry. Nashville is a center for country music, Atlanta to some degree in R&B and hip hop, Miami and San Antonio for Latin music. Whereas the live entertainment industry is pretty general. I mean, there are performing arts venues in Omaha. You're not going to have major labels in Omaha. Sorry. It's just, it is what it is. So, so that's, you know, something to think about.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate that. Alumni. So in terms of like the faculty, some of you touched a little bit upon it, but just the fact that our faculty do have that real world experience in the music industry, can you describe what you believe, how did that positively impact each of you, right? In terms of that, when you were in class and you're like, wow, like I know this person really has done their stuff. They're not just here and they haven't just been in higher ed for X amount of years. They've done what they're saying that they're speaking of in terms of content in the courses. Jordan, do you want to start us off in terms of how you feel like faculty real world experience?
For me, it was definitely important to see that the faculty had experience, because I already had a position at the record label. So just knowing I could Google Professor Sanchez and Professor Elton and see all the information about them and their experience, it made me more comfortable, like, you know what I mean, as a student to want to be in class and learn all the material. But I feel that plays a big part in just, you know what I mean, going to the next level. You want to know that it's a trusted source. It's like the music industry is constantly changing. So you want to know that they're updating the curriculum and the courses that and the information that they're giving you is up to date, as the music industry changes literally every 6 months. I feel like, so it's like, you know when something is outdated, you know when like the material is old, and I feel like they did a great job of keeping up with the current times. You know, we're in the TikTok era, so a lot of the information was very, very new. You could tell, you can kind of see it with the information that was given. So I feel like it made me more comfortable and confident that what I'm learning is going to actually be valuable to actually apply it to my career.
Thank you, Jordan, so much. Michelle?
For me, I knew we can all learn from reading a book, reading an article and translating that, but what makes us overly qualified is the experience. So as a business owner, I was only going to gain what they've experienced to help me. You know, I feel very confident if I have a question about copyright law, live music, anything, I can reach out to them and they can have an answer versus I have to Google something and not really know the process. And I think especially the music industry, experience is key, because there's so much gray area in certain elements that somebody can say, hey, listen, this is the proper way to do it, or let me show you the correct way to process this request. You know, so having professors that actually had been there, done it, worked on both sides, because it's creative and it's industry. So you have to be able to talk to somebody that truly understands both sides of it. And it really helped me develop my business past where it was, because I had to pick a program that I knew I could trust the professors. I didn't want to just read a book and an article. I wanted to meet people that were vastly, you know, organized and had so much different aspects to offer.
Thank you, Michelle. Miguel, please.
Thank you. So in my case, I think, well, first, I think that theory is very important. That's something that I always tell my students, that you have to learn your basic concepts and have them really clear in your mind. But to a certain point, that starts to become not sufficient to get your way around, to really develop all your skills in the industry. So in this case, I already mentioned the example of Professor Sanchez. So because I was trying to learn and adapt a type of knowledge to a reality that is different from the US, it is not only that I needed to ask questions that had to do with general knowledge regarding, let's say, copyright law or management, but also the experience, the first-hand experience that the professor had during his career. And so that's a different kind of knowledge, that's experience, that's insight, and I am sure that it can help you or try to minimize the possibility of you get stuck too frequently in a certain type of situation, just based on the prior experiences of people that worked in a similar context. So again, theory is important, but I think that theory isn't enough. You need experience to really or you need to be exposed to people with experience to also learn from them. And that way you can build yourself as a really successful professional.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you for that. So, Sirona and Ray, to give advice to anybody out there in our amazing audience, what do you believe are the qualities of or habits of success in terms of how our students can succeed in our online music industry program? So any skills that they definitely have to either hone in on, time management, what have you, and like to allow them to stay on track in terms of their learning. And any advice that you have and things that have applied to you that you've found successful in your own lives that you can pass on. Sirona.
Yeah. So I remember I mentioned that I have a law degree. So I went to law school at night for 4 years while I worked a full-time day job. So I know what that's like, trying to balance. I also worked all through undergrad and grad school, but for my law degree, I had a full-time job and I went to law school. So the way I did it and the way I find our students are most successful with it is you have to compartmentalize and schedule yourself. You have to like put in your calendar or whatever calendar tool you use, paper or electronic, block out when are you going to watch the videos? When are you going to do the reading? When are you going to participate, let's say in a discussion? Maybe you'll come to optional office hours, if they happen to line up with your schedule, but if not, that's fine. But the key is blocking that time out. So time management is critical. And even though you're going to just sit down in front of a computer, you need to make everybody in your life imagine, pretend I've just gone off to some campus somewhere. I am not available while I'm doing that, right? Go in a room, shut the door, be like, kids, I'm not here. Mommy is on campus right now. You just can't see the virtual campus. So it's really, I found for me, and I have found the students that have figured that time management thing out are the ones who've done the best, really. And I think the other thing to do, it's very easy. And this may be more of a problem with campus-based students, especially undergrads. They don't do the reading. It makes me crazy. They never read any of the reading. You have video lectures from your professors, but we take a lot of time to find additional things for you to read or watch that support and enforce what we say. And sometimes when you hear something explained 3 different ways from 3 different people, you're like, oh, it all clicks now. She's saying the same thing that was said in that video panel that I watched. So another key for success is, not just watching our videos, which is really important, but to take all of the things that we've baked into these classes seriously, because they're there for a reason. I think that's really the kind of formula for success in my mind.
Yep, ditto on that. The folks that are on this call right now that are alums and current students, I would see them pretty regularly in my weekly optional online discussions, and have had great conversations. And I will say this, the pace is more intense than on campus because it's 7 weeks as opposed to 14. And that's not for everybody, but it would actually be for me. I prefer to learn things like intense now. That's how I'm wired. And so if you just kind of focus on that and say, okay, well, this is what I'm into right now for the next 7 weeks, I'm all in, then you'll be just fine. But that time management is huge because those weeks go by very, very quickly. And there's just a lot of information that has to be absorbed, more than absorbed, to be able to think about these things, think critically, what ifs, and so I know a lot about a student by the way they ask questions, not so much by what answers they give me, but what the questions that they ask. So yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate that. And that question we can get your perspective, Miguel, Michelle, and Jordan. So what did you all do to be successful, right? In terms of finishing your courses on time, getting it all done. And you have that firsthand knowledge in this program, and any support that you received essentially from us and the program to like keep you going, right? If you want to add that into your answer as well, please do. Michelle, please.
Thank you. So for me, I on average work about a 60 to 70 hour week. That's not including being a mother or a wife. But I literally did very similar to what Professor Elton said. So we have about 95 private lessons that we book and 110 classes. And I literally booked in our system a private lesson with myself. And I would schedule it and I'd go to my office and I would say, okay, this is what we're doing. Now, as a business owner, you do get distracted because the phone rings and you're the only one that can answer the 20 questions. So for me, I would schedule that time for myself, but because it's so easy to get those lectures, I would listen to them again on the way home sometimes on my phone, because it's a very easy downloadable app and it's really, really user-friendly. I'm on the older spectrum of technology and, I learned everything fine. And then one thing I did find, well, speaking of how did I feel with our professors and getting help, I really enjoyed the optional meetings that we had with Professor Sanchez. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversations. Sometimes there was 3 or 4 of us. Sometimes it was me asking way too many questions. But I felt like it was very easy to really learn and get to know our professors. You felt like you were on campus. You manage your time correctly. You go to the meetings that you can. When the pandemic happened, it was the only time I met Professor Elton. She was on the car. I was in the car. We had about a 20-minute conversation. It was literally the Tuesday after the world ended. And I remember that day vividly. And I was like, this is my last course and I'm not going to pass because the world is ending. But she was so easy to speak to. And she's like, anything that you need, all of our professors at Frost Online are an email away or a video chat away, and you really feel connected to them. So as long as you manage your time wisely and go to everything you can, even if it's optional, you really will have a very well-rounded process.
Thank you, Michelle. Miguel, please.
So in my case, I kind of have a bit of experience trying to balance many things at once. So I think that discipline is the first thing you need to be successful with managing all that. When I was in music school, I was also studying in med school, so I had really crazy schedules and had to accommodate lots of things together. And in this case, I told you I was working full time at a hospital, and I was also teaching part-time faculty at a music school. And so I had to just try to fill the gaps with whatever hour I have left. I try to study. I try to watch the videos, which are one of the most, I think, one of the most attractive visual aspects of the program. They're really well summarized. They contain like all the important information, but not. You can still, if you want to find more, you can also always access the readings, additional readings that the professors upload in Blackboard, and also you can talk to them if you want in the optional meeting. So it really was a combination of my own discipline and trying to accommodate my schedules, but also the support I had. The convenience I had with the way the materials were organized, and also the kindness of my professors who were always willing to help me, even when I was struggling with schedules or deadlines. They were really comprehensive about that, and it's something that's still going on. I'm still in touch, for example, with Professor Sanchez. I met him a couple months ago, so it's nice to feel that I have that support, even though I'm alumni. I finished a couple of years ago.
Thank you for that, Miguel. Jordan, please.
For me, I feel like the support was just always there. For a majority of the classes, I have one more class left in the semester, but I spent most of my time in LA in a different time zone. I never felt like I was out of the loop. I worked full time at Universal, and all of the slides and the lectures were always posted, so I was always able to go back And it's like when I'm doing the homework and studying for the exam, I was able to always search for like keywords from like the lecture. I felt like that was key for me too, because it's just like a lot of the information I dealt with on the daily. I would go on with my daily life at the label, and the topics that we covered in the lecture would be the same exact thing. Like I literally did my last marketing project was the rollout I did for French. It was literally the final exam was the same exact rollout that I did in real life. So I just always felt like I was in the loop with my professors. I never felt disconnected at all.
Appreciate you, Jordan, and being mindful of time. My goodness, it's gone by so quickly. Yeah, they usually do. Rashonda, I'm coming to you soon. Ray and Sirona, please. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. But in terms of, we have a question here where I was jumping into right now, but it's very similar. What kind, in terms of the chat, what kind of job opportunities do music industry master's students have after completing the master's degree program? And essentially, what different paths have you all seen our graduates move on to upon graduation? That was going to be the question. But yeah, if either of you can jump into that in terms of job and next steps.
Yeah. So, again, this ties back a bit to why we intentionally have our program touch upon all the different sectors, because there is no one career path. And even once you start on a path, it often changes directions anyway. And so, we have students that end up getting jobs at record labels, at music publishing companies, at digital music services, at a whole host of companies that you don't even know exist if you're not in the business already, that are sort of central licensing organizations that help move money and rights all around the industry. You don't even know they exist. They're called collective management organizations. If you do know, I'm talking about organizations like ASCAP and BMI and the MLC and Sound Exchange, in case you're like, I am in the industry. All right, those kind of things, right? So you have all those companies. And again, because of the way all these things weave in and around, you might end up with a job in the live industry side of things, at a concert promoter or a ticketing company. That's not prohibitive by any means. Or you might go start a company. What I do though encourage for a lot of folks, if you're just this entrepreneur, you're like, I could never work for someone else. You might want to try it for a year or so, go work at the kind of company you want to start. Consider it like research in the field so that you can see it done and then be like, okay, I understand. I'm out of here. Let me go start my own thing. So, not everybody is meant to work in a kind of corporate environment. Others want to start their own business. And so it's all of the above. We have a large LinkedIn private group for our alums, hundreds of people, and our students that are in the online program, the on-campus program, they're all in the same LinkedIn group, and you can see where all of our alums are working, and it's all over the industry. I don't think there's a single sector or area where we don't have someone, right? So it's all over the place, honestly. There is no one path. It's a very competitive job market. I'm not going to lie. A job gets posted like at Universal, they'll easily have, 200 applicants in a week. Okay. It's a competitive business, but this program can give you an edge combined with your own sense of drive and all the things that make you, right? This program itself doesn't equal a job. It doesn't work like that. You still have to bring you to the mix. But it can help give you an edge and open a door. And, people at companies who are looking at resumes, we have alumni everywhere. And I got my first full-time job at a major record company because of somebody who graduated 1 year before me. Right? It happens all the time. And so when you're in our group discussions on chat and not just the optional office hours, but if you're in our discussion boards on Blackboard and you're meeting your fellow classmates, some of them are in the industry or they're going to be out there getting a job before you. And then they'll be like, oh, I know somebody who knows how to do this. So there's a lot of opportunity to tap into that network.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I'll definitely jump on that because I actually got my first double trajectory in the music industry, first as a guitarist and starting to work in the live side of the business through a classmate that graduated before me and was moving to Nashville and recommended me. And then when I got my first job at a publishing company, it was through a classmate that was already working there that graduated the year before me as well. So that this movie's been repeated over and over again. I will say there's another really cool, interesting sector of this business that's not often talked about, and there are enormous opportunities in the music products industry. And I'll use also this moment to say that the NAMM show, NAMM, you might want to check them out, NAMM.org. It's the organization representing the music products industry. They're having a big trade show in Anaheim, California in April. And three of us here, Sirona, myself, and Andrea, are going to be there. And we'll be hosting a networking event on Thursday evening for current and former students and anyone potentially interested in our program. So we'll get that info out through our colleagues at U Online to see if anybody is out in Southern California, come see us. But the music products industry is yet one of those other areas that, people often miss because, everybody thinks record companies first and then maybe publishing, whatever, and then live music. But hey, all that gear has to come from somewhere. So anyway.
Thank you, Ray, so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Being mindful of time, can we just say a quick goodbye, panelists, to everybody, because we're definitely over the 7:45 even by 2 minutes, and I know it's late in terms of where you are all at, but we appreciate you being here so much. Rashonda, please go ahead and end us off here.
All right. Thank you all for coming. We hope that you have found this session to be beneficial. A lot of great information. For those that are considering the program, just please keep in mind, we are now accepting applications for our summer start, which is going to begin Monday, May 8th. The early admission deadline is going to be Monday, March 13th. It is free to apply, so there's nothing that should be stopping you. In addition, as a way to thank you for attending this session, we are going to offer a $300 deposit fee waiver that will go along with your application. This will be applied to your application should you decide to move forward. And again, please make sure to get your applications in early. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to our enrollment advisors. This does wrap up our session. I do want to thank you all for joining us. Hope you have a great evening. Bye.
Thank you.